Hi, I'm Diana Dettinger, and welcome to the 10-day Personal Growth Intensive. So today is day one. It's about sense of person. So there's 3 phases you'll be going through in these 10 days. The first is sense of person. And why is this? It's because identity is not an option. Identity is a must for your emotional and mental balance. You are best to know who you are. Who you are is a pretty existential kind of question. When you have answers is when you can live happier, healthier, a more meaningful life, more fulfilling life. You can evolve and change and grow. These are things that are yearnings inside of every person. They really do start with having a sense of you as a person, as a unique individual. The next phase is sense of purpose. And that's another existential question, which is, why am I here? And purpose is really misunderstood now. It's too much considered, or the way it's proposed with a lot of courses on purpose is a little bit too much professional, as in your purpose always has to be a job. And, I'll stick this in now. It's not the objective of the video, but just to be a little bit of a disruptor. If you're a stay-home mom, just because you don't earn money, living your purpose, does that mean you don't have a purpose? So there's a lot of ways that these things, identity, person, purpose, why you're here, I find are explained in a way that are incorrect and not often help people to really feel empowered 24/7, okay? So the final phase is sense of potential. And that's because so many of my clients come to me and they do realize, they say, Diane, I feel like I'm so much more. I just don't know how to be it. I go the path to the personal development classes. I do the yoga, I do the meditation, I eat well. What's missing? And what's missing are all 3 of these phases, starting with sense of person, which is why you're here right now. So to give you a little bit of my background, I have been in the corporate training industry for over 25 years. And in that team building and CEO coaching, it always started with helping people understand who they are. There's corporate assessments, behavior assessments, performance profiles. But what I realized is that, people aren't just one of 8 types. And those are the majority of mainstream tools that I'm certified in, all of them, from Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, DISC, Strength Finders. And I realized, because of my family background, that each person really is unique. Now, my parents both have 8 and 9 siblings, which means I have lots of aunts and uncles, and all of them have big families. So, like I said, I come from a family of 250 blood relatives. As a kid, I understood that each person is unique. And so in this corporate training, at the end of the 90s, I was asking myself, well, how can I find a tool to really help people understand who they are, like how cool and amazing they are? And that led me, very synchronistic, coincidental kind of thing, to study as a neurobiology therapist. So I was specialized in unblocking psychosomatic illnesses, and in that journey of studying in detail how each individual is programmed and how to help them understand who they are, to unblock the meaning, the reason why they have the psychosomatic illness, helped me realize and create a personality profile, the only personality profile based on science. And it's called Your Life, Your Way. And there's more about this, later on. So in this helping people understand this process of who they are as a person, who they are with a purpose, and their greater potential, helped me catalyze change in them in a very fast, rapid way, because it was based on the neurology of exactly how their brain is programmed. So it's very tangible, practical. People love these tools because they are very, very fast, effective, fun, even the way I propose them. And I didn't just stop at that. I also dove into everything that is considered alternative, like astrology and reading faces and reading hands and reading, handwriting, because I really wanted to make sure that when I put together this leading edge tool, that the answers, if people were getting answers from any of these other tools, they would always be the same. Yet these tools would be even more effective. So my background is very, very vast. So what I'm going to ask you in this video, which is about sense of person, to get out your notebook, and as the very first exercise, write down what are 10 juicy, juicy words that really describe who you are. And I'll go in a little bit in a couple of videos later, the power of words and why it's so important to have words that describe you. So you can pause the video now and do that exercise. Write down, who are you? 10 juicy words that describe who you are. And the second exercise is to draw a picture of how you see yourself, your self-image. And I'll even go into this in another later video. But when I'm taking you through this process, understand that it is based on biological principles as well as spiritual principles to catalyze fast personal growth. That's why I call it an intensive. So just draw a sketch. How do you see yourself? Now, this is really important. These two things are important. One, because it's the foundation. Where are you now in your self-awareness? And then you can use that to measure how much you've grown and become more aware at the end of the 10 days. So it's a measuring tool. Your self-awareness as in how you describe yourself and as in how you see yourself. So I make things very simple, but there's so much scientific background about the exercises that I'm having you do. Take it light, make it fun. Don't be afraid of that white page, just white, blank, empty page. What do I put on it? Have fun with it. Whatever comes to mind, trust yourself. This is a process of even trusting. So once you've done those, then let me give you a little bit of the biological reality of being you. So you know that at conception, you're here because you were conceived, right? At conception, you get chromosomes from both parents. You develop then into an embryo, into a fetus, into a baby. And in this developmental process, you follow instructions that are contained in a genetic program. Then when you're born, people might comment about your physical aspect. Maybe they'll say, oh, you have your dad's nose, your mother's eyes. And later on, they might even notice some temperament or mannerisms that are similar to one of your parents. But what very, very few people know is, and even consider, is the most influential information in those chromosomes. It's not something people see, but it really shapes your life more than the rest. And it's something that as a therapist, we call emotional memory. It makes you the person that you are. So at conception, you not only receive the information about your physical traits, but you also get a blueprint of predictable ways of feeling, because it's emotional memory, of perceiving the outside world based on who you are, and of behaving or acting. These ways of being are your personality. They're who you are. And they stem from specific, what we call unresolved emotions from your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and even farther back. You inherit these unresolved emotions as conflicts. You take them on as a project to bring them to solution. So the bad day is when you're feeling the emotional memory of the conflict, which really isn't you. It's just a project you took on to put that into solution, which means leveraging the innate talents to be who you're meant to be. This is all your biological project. So it's very important, and this is really life-changing. It's industry-changing for the professional and personal development industry. That emotional memory is in your DNA. You get it at conception. It's in every cell of your body. And it's also stored in the middle brain in the form of subconscious images, which is why I'll have you draw pictures. These images are like movies that you project to the outside world. But what really happens is you're projecting memory from someone else's life, someone else's projects, someone else's conflicts. So you're actually projecting out reruns, not your own playwright, not your own script. So have you ever wondered why some things some things feel like you've lived them already before. It's because it's that emotional memory. It's inherited. It's in your DNA. Some memories that you get, because you do even get the positive memories that are joyful. But all of these memories, be them the happy and the joy that are in your DNA, or the conflicts, the sadness, the frustration, they come from predictable facts in your genealogy. And this is what I use to unblock people's psychosomatic illnesses, just by using keywords. And these conflicts are really what are blocking you in your self-realization, because you haven't identified who you are in the solution. You're replaying the conflict, the emotions, and you're buying into you being that. But they're not who you are. They're just a project. They're just a challenge, right? So this journey right now, these 10 days, is moving beyond. It's identifying with a more empowering you, okay? So these conflictual emotional memories will actually give you predictable life challenges, like they'll give you the memory of even predictable times that you've done something that is so amazing that you really feel, this is who I am, this is what I'm meant to do with my life. Okay, so we're going to be bouncing back and forth, remembering when you're off and when you're totally on. So what happens is that your DNA is really yearning inside every cell of your body. It's yearning for these conflicts to be solved. But without the awareness, without the precise words, without the precise image of what it's like, then these are subconsciously running your life, repeating the exact same dynamics that someone else had in the family history. And so, maybe in this life, you're meeting different people and they're in different places, but the structure, which is a therapeutic word, the structure of the dynamics of that relationship, of that circumstance, are exactly the same. So this journey is going to start to become more intensive about gaining the awareness of who you are. Now, I'm not very much about spending a lot of time on going back or diving into the past or, rehashing up the negative. I'm more about staying in the positive, because when you can really understand the positiveness about who you are, slowly any attachment to I'll use the word negative, to this conflictual memory, it will dissipate. So the more time you spend leveraging the beauty of the wonderful person you are, the more energy you put toward that. That's where the energy will go, and that's where you will feel more empowered. Now, since this is a little bit more informational as a video, then I want to give you a little bit of a disruptive kind of information. Now, I said that what's in your DNA is emotional memory, and that really is the basis of who you are, gives you the sense of a person, a meaning of what it's like to be you. And you feel that in every cell, tissue, bone, muscle, hair of your body, right? What the personal professional development industry usually talks about is change your mind, change your life, which is neurologically, physiologically, for personal professional development, it's actually erroneous. It's misguiding, because understanding the deeper part of who you are, that you are emotional memory, means that emotion comes before thought. So anything that you've done before about mind, changing your mind or changing your story, or mindfulness or changing mindset, well, sorry, it doesn't catalyze change because it's inexact. There's an emotion before thought, and before the emotion, there's always a memory. So when, clients go through a journey of one-on-one coaching, then I'll explain what it's like to be them in a very metaphoric, deeper way. Well, they always cry, because there's an emotional release, which is actually a reconnection of neurons that allows them to access information about themselves that was isolated, it was closed off. So, neurologically, you do not have access to be who you are, and obviously not to fulfill your purpose or live your potential, unless you have exact keywords and images of what it's like to be you. So that was a little bit of the biology, which I found is important, especially since you've already done some personal and professional growth. So the exercises for today, take a couple minutes now if you haven't already, jot down in your notebook, write down 10 juicy words that describe who you are. This is the foundation of your starting point on this journey. And if you want, even add, what do you need to be happy? Who are you could also be adjectives, how you feel, what you need to be happy, verbs, doing what makes you feel really alive. And then make sure and jot down your self-image. Okay, great. Thank you so much for your participation, and I'll be talking to you in the next video.